mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about Season 2, Episode 8 of Hulu's Only Murders in the Building, entitled Hello Darkness. The title is, I think, a dual reference to both the Simon and Garfunkel song, Sound of Silence, that Howard and his new boy toy sing/yodel together, that the whole lobby hears, that they join in, and Mabel joins in, and Oliver joins in, and everybody's singing the song in the middle of this blackout, which is what I think is the second meaning, is, of course, Hello Darkness is the whole episode essentially takes place in the dark during this blackout, aside from the, excuse me, the brief opening moment with Marv talking to them in the diner about his 6th Avenue slasher theory, and then at the very end when the lights come on. So this episode, I think, while still being fun like all the rest of the episodes, did have a couple of things that bothered me. Not huge things that I'm just like, oh, this episode sucked. Nothing like that. But generally when I'm watching this show, I'm thoroughly enjoying my time with the characters. I'm laughing. I'm taking notes about any clues I'm finding toward the murder. It's a very involved, you're very involved in watching this show, especially, well, maybe not if you don't do YouTube videos, but if you do YouTube videos, you're very involved in this show because you're trying to follow every little bit of information they're putting out there, making note of anything you might notice that could be a clue, all that kind of stuff. It's very engaging and very interactive. But this week, it was all of those things still, but one thing it's not is something that frequently makes me go, I don't like that. There were a couple of I don't like that moments in this episode, but other than that, still your standard Omit B episode. And I want to talk about what we learned, which really wasn't that much, but I do have some things I want to kind of like talk about based on what we learned, and then I have some thoughts at the end. This video won't be too long, but there's some stuff that's worth talking about. So I want to start with the sneeze. This sneeze, I mentioned it whenever the episode was where Lucy first showed up and she was being chased by the killer through the passages, and we heard the guy sneeze, and I might have even said cat allergy, but I was talking about, is this guy got allergies? Like, what's up with this person? Our killer sneezes. So in this episode, one, the sneeze comes back up, that was enough for me to pat myself on the back, but Lucy shares with the crew. I'm going to call them the crew, referring to Oliver, Charles, and Mabel. Or I can call them the Omit B crew. She informs the Omit B crew that she was actually there in the walls during her mother's wedding when the murder happened. And during her mother's wedding when the murder happened. And that she was being chased by the killer and that this person sneezed. So now the sneeze is public knowledge. But we also see in this episode that Howard's new boy toy sneezes because he has a cat allergy, but we also kind of got to know that he's not the killer because he was with Howard while Lucy was being chased by the killer through the passages. So I don't know I have an idea, but I don't really know the purpose of what I think is meant to be an intentional fake out. I think we're obviously meant to note that this guy sneezed, and then are also meant to note that the killer sneezed, and all this kind of stuff. I think we're meant to note that, and I also think we're meant to note that this guy couldn't have been the person chasing Lucy because he wasn't there. He was with Howard. So that's one thing we learned. We also learned that Marv gets caught snooping around, but I'm not willing to accept Marv's "I'm here to protect Lucy" story. One, because why was he there in his work clothes? Two, how does he even know? Well, I mean, I guess he might know from the podcast about the passages, but how did he even get into the passages? Why was he chasing them? There's too many questions about what Marv was doing for me to accept I'm a mold inspector and that's why I'm wearing this. And Lucy says that he's not the guy and he didn't have a knife. The guy chasing her had a knife. So I do believe that Marv wasn't the person chasing her, but I don't know if I believe that he was just merely there to protect Lucy. I don't know if I believe that either. I think that there's an interesting dynamic at play here between Howard's Guy and Marv, in that I feel like both of these things are presented, but not as fake, not like they feel like fake outs, but I don't quite think they're fake outs. Like, I feel like Howard's Guy can't be the killer, but maybe he's working with the killer. And Marv may not be the killer, but maybe he's, involved in some other way, because he mentioned the 6th Avenue slasher. Why bring that up if you're just going to dismiss it after this episode? Why even loop Marv into the episode like this to just be like, yeah, it wasn't him anyway? Like, I just feel like there's something to continue to be suspicious about with Marv, and maybe even with Howard's new hopeful boyfriend. Yeah, I feel like this is going to come back. I feel like Howard's Guy is going to come back. It just felt like a little bit too much to introduce this late in the season and then wrap it up in the same episode. Like, why even put that there? So, yeah, I don't know. And then the last thing we learned, like I said, we didn't learn too much, is that Kreps is randomly in the lobby when the lights come back on, talking to Lucy. And even before I continue, I want to point out the Kreps theory has been a thing. If you read the comments, I believe in my last video for episode 7, maybe it was episode 6, but one of those two. If you read the comments, there's a whole thing between several different people comment on this Kreps theory, that Kreps is the guy who did it. I replied to some of these comments. There's a whole thing. Now, this is where things get tricky, because there's 2 episodes left. Why are they really gonna reveal Kreps as the killer with 2 episodes left when they do fake outs every single week? Like, and they've done that now for nearly 2 full seasons. Every episode, you're meant to come away from that episode going, this person might be the killer. In a show that does that every week and then reveals the killer in the final episode, why would they reveal now that Kreps is the killer? But at the same time, he gets bumped by Howard and winces. Do you think that's the same side? Yes, that is the same side he was stabbed on. Okay, first I was like, wait. And I'm trying to like reposition the video from the subway. And if it's hard to do it since I can't, like when I look at my screen, I see myself, but I don't know if that's how you guys see me. So I don't know if I do this, what arm it looks to you like I'm touching on. I'm touching on my left shoulder, but I don't know if it looks like that to you. It might like my right shoulder. I don't know. But I'm touching my left shoulder, and the video of his interaction, the killer's interaction with Mabel, is filmed from behind him, and we see him get stabbed on this side. So like, and this is also the left arm is where Howard bumped Kreps. So he got bumped, he winces, he says he got a tattoo, whatever. And then Mabel sees glitter on his neck. Now, again, what have I been doing this whole season? Dismissing the obvious choice. They very clearly make Kreps, they very clearly want us to end this episode going, Kreps is the killer. And throughout the entirety of this show, that's how we've done the whole time, going, this person must be the killer. And it's a fake out. So I have no reason to believe anything's gonna be different. I still feel like Kreps might be a fake out, even though the Kreps theory has persisted. I think it's interesting for them to lean into this theory to potentially debunk it and feel like they tricked Reddit. But I don't know how you explain away the wincing and the glitter either. So like, and him being in there at that time, happening to just so be in the neighborhood. I don't know how you explain that away. The only thing I could think is maybe Kreps is the killer, but the twist that we'll get at the end is that he's not the only killer. Because we talk about, like I talked about Howard's Guy. He sneezes, but he wasn't there. We talk about Kreps and these fake outs. He's clearly being pointed to as the killer. Maybe Kreps is working with Howard's Guy, or maybe Kreps is working with Marv. I don't think Marv is the killer. I don't think Marv is involved. I just think there's something else going on with Marv. But what if Kreps is working with the black guy that Howard is into, and that guy does something else that, when I say does something else, like he has some sort of relevance other than this guy that Howard is into? And then also, do you guys think it's a coincidence, because I don't, that this guy just so happens to have so much in common with Howard. No, I think this guy I think he's probably involved, and that probably was him sneezing in the passages. But right now, he's working some sort of plan that involves Howard. Maybe there's an access point into the passageways through Howard's apartment that is useful to him for some reason. But I feel like this was researched. Like, this wasn't like, oh, we need batteries at the same time. Coincidence? No, he wanted to get into Howard's apartment for a reason. He sings Broadway. He hears that Howard sings. He goes, I sing Broadway. And he goes, oh, you know what I really be doing? What I love to be doing? Working in a library. I work in a library. Oh, I love cats. Oh, now I'm sneezing because you have cats. Oh, don't get rid of your cat. Like, no. This is not like a fucking romantic comedy where everything is working out in Howard's favor. I think this is a setup. This guy is up to something. So I think maybe pencil me down on my own, pencil me in on believing my own theory that Howard's guy and Kreps might be working together. And we haven't entertained a 2-person killer or a 3-person killer. We haven't seen what's her face, Alice, in a while still. Like, I feel like at this point, if we never see Alice again, what was her why did we need her this season? Just to give Cara Delevingne, just to give Cara Delevingne an opportunity to appear in this show? I don't think so. So, let's keep that in mind as well. What if all 3 of these people are working together? That'd be a good way, I think, to kind of like pull the wool over the eyes of the audience. So, I want to get to a couple of my thoughts. Sorry, my Creative Cloud just updated. That'll help me edit these videos better. So a couple of thoughts real quick before I wrap up. Like I mentioned, I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't say this. I liked the Omit B name for the podcast. I always put that in my notes because I'm not going to write out Only Murders in the Building. And when I need to, I put OMITB. I just don't say Omit B. I am now. So if you don't like Omit B, you're not going to like my final 2 videos because I'm going to refer to this show as Omit B whenever I get a chance. Oliver gets his DNA results, but he can't look at them because he lost service right at the time of the blackout, and the episode ends with the power coming back. So I expect us to find out Oliver's DNA results at the start of the next episode. But I did love how when they were climbing the stairs and he's like, I won't be Will's dad. I'll be dip lover cuckolded by king of dips. I love that because him taking all those dips makes him the dip lover, the cuckold. Hey, look, cuckolded, whatever. Like, that's pretty obvious. And then by king of dips referring to Teddy. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was really good that he was able to use something about dips twice in this title and be referring to 2 entirely different things. I don't know. That for some reason, and I like the fact that Martin Short said cuckolded. I don't know. But that doorman, the bellman, would have died going up 14 flights of stairs. I used to, when I was in the best shape of my life, at 30 years old, I was in the best shape of my life, going to the gym every morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would take the stairs at my job to my desk when I first started working there, and I was on the 14th floor. That shit almost killed me, and I was in peak physical condition. And when I say peak physical, I mean for me. Like, I wasn't like fucking like, like an NBA player or something like that. I was in good shape for me, but still, 30 years old, best shape of my life, 14 flights was a struggle. That dude's like 150 and he's going to go up 14 flights of stairs carrying stuff? No, that guy would have died. I thought Howard and his guy at the end, when Howard comes to ask him out, I thought that was like really... I thought it was a really cute scene. Like, if I do all these 8 million different things to make it so that there's no possible way you can absorb any kind of cat anything will you go out with me. I thought that was really nice. And like the way he ran off, how he looked there, like he was standing there kind of like shyly, kind of like, huddled up a little bit, like very nervous. I thought that was really nice. That was cute. Speaking of the scene where he mentions wanting to be a librarian, I like he's like, I always want to be a children's librarian. He goes, and he turns his hand and goes, I'm a librarian. And he goes, shut up. That's our slogan. I thought that's our slogan was a great line. And I like he delivered it in a way where like if you're not really paying attention, you'll miss it. I thought that was pretty cool. Now I want to close by talking about the two things that I didn't like. I didn't like Lucy shouting Charles in the dark in his apartment when she hears the doorknob rattling. Charles would just walk into his home. He wouldn't struggle to open the door or not respond to his daughter going, Charles! like I always think that's dumb if someone is home alone and they hear someone breaking in and then they say a name or shout something. Like, yeah, alert them to your presence as if that's gonna scare them off. No, now they know you're in there. Whereas like if you don't say anything, you can hide, you can escape, whatever. They don't even know you're there. But now that you vocalize that you're there, they know to at the very least look for you. So anytime that happens in a show or movie, it pisses me off. So I didn't like Lucy shouting Charles at the door. And then on top of that, she goes into the passages and leaves the door open behind her. So, I mean, the killer probably knew about whoever that was, whether that was the killer or someone working with the killer, Howard, this guy, Kreps, whoever, Marv, Alice, whoever, they probably know about the passages anyway, but still, leaving the door open was stupid. And then I thought as much as I didn't like that, I really didn't like them sitting down to relax in the passages. Because they went to the passages thinking, Lucy is being chased by the killer right now. And then they go, yeah, we tired. Let's sit down and take a load. She is being chased by what? And they're just gonna sit there and cool out like that? Man, that was dumb, man. I did not like that decision at all, man. It's moments like that where I don't understand how that scene gets from someone's brain to my eyes. How many people read that in the script, participated in that scene, edited that scene, saw it, whatever, and then saw the finished product before it hit Hulu, and all of those people, probably hundreds of people, none of them went like, does it make sense for Charles and Mabel and Oliver to sit down and relax while Lucy's presumably being chased by the killer just because they got lost? Like, okay, you got lost, turn back around and keep trying to find Lucy. Don't just sit down and be like, well, I guess it'll work itself out. That was so weird to me. Maybe I missed a line that would make that make sense if I did say it in the comments, but like, that didn't make sense to me at all. But those have been my only criticisms of this show to this point. So not a big deal here. Really enjoyable episode. We've got 2 more left. Let me know what you think. I feel like with what we saw with Kreps, we have to somehow know he's not the killer. But I mean, I don't know how you explain away the glitter and the grimace from when he got bumped in the arm. The only thing I can think is that was him, but it's not just him. And we're gonna spend these next 2 episodes figuring out what's going on with Teddy and Theo and the whole paternity thing. I feel like there's something that needs to wrap up with like Nina and this doorman and all this kind of stuff. What Nina's gonna do now that the baby's born. We need that. And there's a few other things I think we need to wrap up. But I think, introducing Howard's guy and not introducing Marv, but introducing this thing with Marv, and all of that with 2 episodes left, I feel like that's going to play in as well. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys next week for episode 9. And until then, peace.